The cities of Germany, in its 17th year as a unified country, do not bear traces of their painful past. Berlin has been transformed into a peaceful, vibrant metropolis. But there is one German woman who, instead of rejoicing in her country's reunification, has been filled with sorrow for nearly half a century, longing for her husband. Renate Hong. Her heartbreaking story of having her North Korean husband taken away from her 46 years ago touched the hearts of the German people. She takes out a memento of her husband.
Ja, wenn ich das 1961 bekommen habe, dann ist das 45 Jahre alt. 45 Jahre.
She married Hong Ok-gun, a North Korean studying in East Germany, and they had 2 children. But when North Korea ordered all overseas North Korean students to return to the country, she was left without a husband.
Dass das Kind immer auf den Arm genommen hat, also wollte es überhaupt nicht weggeben. Naja, ich habe ihm nur noch in die Augen geguckt und in das Gesicht und habe auch die Tränen bei ihm gesehen. Das ist eigentlich, was ich in Erinnerung habe. Und das habe ich eigentlich nie gesehen bis dahin.
할머니는 재회를 기다리며 한마디 건넨다.
다시 봅시다. 다시 봅시다. 다시 봅시다. 다시 봅시다.
저는 오늘부터 사흘간 평양을 방문합니다.
After 57 years of division on the Korean peninsula, a strand of hope remains for these separated families. The second Inter-Korean summit was announced. President Roh Moo-hyun crossed the forbidden line on his way to attend an epochal summit. Overcoming different ideologies and political systems, the leaders of South and North Korea shook hands. The world's attention focused on the Korean peninsula.
Recover what has been lost in the past 7 years.
South and North Korea are now searching for a way to coexist in peace and turn back the clock to a time when they were one. In October 2007, the leaders of South and North Korea held a second summit. October 2nd, 2007. It was sunny on the first day of the 2007 South-North Korean Summit.
지난 2000년 정상회담이 남북 관계에 새 길을 열었다면 이번 정상회담은 그 길에 아직도 놓여 있는 장애물을 치우고 지체되고 있는 발걸음을 재촉하는 그런 회담이 되었으면 좋겠습니다.
President Roh Moo-hyun addressed the Korean people and promised to make real progress in this second Inter-Korean Summit.
좋은 결과가 있어가지고 우리 대한민국이 통일이 될 수 있게끔 또 기름길이 될 수 있는 이런 정상회담이 됐으면.
This time, President Roh would visit Pyongyang via a land route instead of flying to Pyongyang as President Kim Dae-jung did in 2000. At the press center in Sogong, Seoul, foreign journalists watched on as the historic meeting between the 2 leaders took place.
This is a historical event, the second summit between the 2 Koreas. However, it remains to be seen what really is going to be achieved here.
At 8:49 a.m., President Roh Moo-hyun and First Lady Kwon Young-suk arrived at the MDL.
이제 저는 이번에 대통령으로서 이 금단의 선을 넘어갑니다. 제가 다녀오면 또 더 많은 사람들이 다녀오게 될 것입니다.
President Roh Moo-hyun became the first South Korean president to cross the MDL, which divides South and North Korea.
남북 간의 관계 진전이라든가 또는 이 군사적 긴장을 완화시킬 수 있는 것이 사실상 지난 7년 동안에는 크게 진전이 없었는데 이것을 드디어 한 발을 뛰는구나라는 점을 봤을 때는 남북한의 의지에 의해서 군사 분계선을 없앨 수 있는 그런 노력들을 시작을 했다라는.
After arriving in Pyongyang, President Roh was welcomed by throngs of North Koreans waving at his open motorcade. The parade lasted for 20 minutes.
Impressive factor was to actually see him in Pyongyang and to see the large, very well behaved and perhaps well choreographed groups of people lining the street waving all those pink plastic flowers.
The North Korean officials had changed the venue of the welcoming reception several times and finally settled on the 425 Culture Hall. Despite rumors of his deteriorating health, North Korean leader Kim Jong-il personally appeared to welcome President No, to everyone's surprise. After waiting 7 years for this summit to take place, the two leaders finally shook hands. With a marching parade of North Korean soldiers and a crowd of North Koreans welcoming President No, the 2007 South-North Korean summit began with warm feelings on both sides. Meanwhile, 1,300 foreign and Korean journalists were gathered at the press center in Seoul watching the summit proceed.
Again was to try and decipher the chemistry between the two leaders, which is pretty difficult when you're looking at it on a television screen and you only have a certain amount of images to make your judgment by.
Later in the evening, Parliament Chief Kim Young-nam hosted a dinner party for President No and the South Korean delegation.
우리 민족을 중시하고 힘을 합치는 여기에 통일과 번영의 미래가 있습니다.
분단은 우리의 힘으로 막지 못했지만 남북이 평화롭게 공존하면서 서로 번영하는 길로 나아가는 것은 우리의 여지와 노력에 달려 있습니다. 우리 하기에 따라서는 동북아시아의 새로운 통합의 질서를 만드는 데도 주도적인 역할을 할 수 있을 것입니다. 서로에 대한 불신의 감정이 남아있다면 지금 이 순간 털어냅시다.
It was an evening during which everyone realized that building a trusting relationship was the only way to overcome the ideological differences that separated South and North Korea. At Busan Train Station Square, a group of citizens held an event to show the people's earnest wishes for reunification. The citizens held hands and sang the reunification song.
하루빨리 좀 정상회담이 되기를 기대했었는데 오늘 이렇게 되니까 그 기다린 만큼의 감동과 감격이 더 크게 지금 나타나고 있습니다.
2000년 정상회담 때는 남북의 정상이 처음 만나서 참 이제 얼떨떨하고 그런 이제 환영의 분위기가 되게 많았었는데 올해 이제 2차 정상회담 때는 남북 정상이 만나서 한반도의 정치 군사적인 문제가 일정 정도 해결돼서 남북의 평화와 통일을 실질적으로 이룰 수 있는 그런 정상회담이 되었으면 좋겠습니다.
The 615 joint declaration that was made at the first Inter-Korean summit pronounced the understanding that South and North Koreans were one. Based on this one people idea, the citizens prayed for the unification of the two Koreas. On the morning of October 3, 2007, North Korean leader Kim visited President No's guest house for an early morning greeting, setting a positive tone for the summit meeting that lay ahead. President No also returned the kind gesture by presenting gifts to North Korean leader Kim Jong-il. A folding screen with drawings that contain symbols of longevity, as well as DVDs of popular Korean TV dramas and movies, were presented as gifts to Kim Jong-il. The First Lady presented a porcelain set to the North Korean leader.
있지만 자기는 많은
However, the first summit meeting was discouraging. President No brought up the main agendas for discussion, but the North Korean side was not receptive to his proposals.
분명하게 확인한 것은 평화에 대한 확고한 의지를 가지고 계시다는 점 확인했고 또 쉽지 않은 벽을 느끼기도 했습니다.
The second summit meeting was held in the afternoon, where North Korean leader Kim Jong-il was more engaging. Then leader Kim Jong-il made a surprise proposal.
오늘 일정을 내로 미루시고 내라고 전화한 시간 공들여서 편안히 앉아서 그렇게 지시하는 것까지 하루 일정을 좀 주는 걸로 얘기합니다.
뭐 오전 회담이 그래서 일정한 진전은 있었지만 또 여러 가지 장애도 많이 있었다. 이런 말씀을 했기 때문에 오후에 그 회담 연기가 됐다 이런 소식을 접하고서 이 회담이 이제 안 되는가 보다 하는 그런.
He suggested that they postpone the summit meeting for one day. It came as a surprise to Korean and foreign journalists alike.
At Pyongyang in a more relaxed manner and postpone today's afternoon's schedule to the day after and suggested that
Many foreign journalists analyzed leader Kim Jong-il's proposal. The North Korean leader had made this proposal because he wanted the summit to proceed at a normal pace without any time constraints. On the evening on October 3, 2007, a performance of Arirang was held at Neungna-do, Pyongyang. Although the large-scale performance was a grand sight to behold, it included exuberant tributes to the communist ideology of North Korea and raised eyebrows in South Korea.
자신들의 지도자에 대한 숭배가 있고 또 자신들의 체제를 좀 선전하고 하는 그런 내용들이 있더라고 하더라도 우리 아주 개방된 대단히 다이내믹한 우리 한국 사회 아니겠습니까? 무슨 뭐 그것 때문에 생각이 변하고 그럴 리는 없다. 그래서 그런 우리 자신감을 가질 필요가 있고 이번에 대통령께서도 아리랑 공연을 또 관람함으로써 또 상대방에 대한 이해, 배려, 자기들 얼마나 준비를 해서 한 보여주고 싶겠습니까? 그러니까
A declaration that outlined closer ties with North Korea and a peaceful co-prosperity development plan was signed in a quick process. As soon as the two leaders met each other at the signing ceremony, they sat down and immediately signed the declaration. Overcoming different ideologies and political systems, the agreement that was signed that day marked a turning point for South-North Korean relations. On October 4th, the last day of the 2007 South-North Korean Summit, North Korean leader Kim Jong-il hosted a farewell banquet for President No. The farewell ceremony was the last official summit event, and thousands of North Koreans waved at President No's motorcade as it headed back to South Korea.
Try and see from those how much substance there really was in what the two leaders, and also to make it clear that this was not a quick win type of meeting, but it was what the government here in Seoul is hoping for is a long-term process which will eventually yield closer cooperation.
실무형 회담 그리고 성과 중심의 회담이었다. 그것은 김정일 위원장이나 노무현 대통령 입장에서 1차 정상회담의 어떤 그 화려함, 추상적인 이런 것들보다는 구체적인 성과를 통해서 남북 간의 교류와 협력 그리고 평화와 번영이라고 하는 이 부분으로 포인트를 처음부터 맞췄다 이렇게 볼 수 있습니다.
The agreement that was signed at the 2007 South North Korean Summit contained 8 provisions and 2 separate clauses. The main provisions concerned peaceful coexistence on the Korean peninsula, a declaration to end the Korean War, and the formation of a special fishing zone in the West Sea.
One of the greatest achievements of the second summit talk is the mutual agreement to create special zone for peace and cooperation in the West Sea, because it will be turning the zone of war and conflict and accidental clash into zone of peace and mutual prosperity.
On June 25, 1950, the Korean War, a tragic civil war, broke out. In 1953, the senior delegate of the United Nations Command Delegation signed an armistice agreement with the North Korean senior delegate of the delegation of the Korean People's Army and the Chinese People's Volunteers. In the armistice agreement, there were no clauses that mentioned the parameters of the maritime border, although the land border was clearly stated in detail. After the ceasefire treaty was signed, the United Nations commander drew up a maritime border which became known as the Northern Limit Line without any consultation with North Korea. The waters under contention are located in the West Sea.
북은 NLL을 인정 못하는 것이고 우리는 NLL을 거의 영토 개념으로 봤기 때문에 상호 간에 그것을 해결하기 위해서는 그야말로 논쟁만 있을 뿐이지 절대 해결이 불가능한 상황입니다.
With constant risk of a military clash in this area, South and North Korea have been very sensitive to any actual or perceived intrusions.
이제까지의 남북 간의 협력이라고 하는 것이 평화는 뒷전에 있고 경협과 교류가 우선이었다면 앞으로의 남북 간의 교류 협력은 평화와 함께 가는 교류 협력, 다시 이야기하면 평화와 경협의 결합. 그래서 이번에 특별지대의 설정은 앞으로의 남북 관계는 평화가 함께하는 평화 플러스 협력이라고 하는 그 틀의 모델을 제시했다는 점에서 매우 중요한 획기적인 전환점을 보여줬다.
The West Sea Peaceful Cooperation Special Zone offers a new solution to sharing the waters along the NLL as a joint fishing zone, letting South and North Korean fishermen freely fish in the area. Meanwhile, the no-fishing zone around Yeonpyeong Island will be designated as a peace zone. To strengthen industrial South Korean ties with Kaesong and Haeju, the plan entails South Korean boats using a direct sea route to visit Haeju port while opening the waters at the mouth of the Han River to North Korean ships.
We'll be able to have a golden triangle involving Incheon, Kaesong, and Haeju. That will become new engine of economic growth for both North and South Korea. At least we can have 2 macro visions. One is opening of the northern frontier. Another one is creation of golden triangle in the middle belt of the Korean peninsula.
Rebuilding efforts will also begin on the Shin-Uiju Railway in Kaesong and the Kaesong-Pyongyang Highway. Expectations are high for South and North Korean Olympic athletes to board a train together to attend the 2008 Beijing Olympics via the Gyeongui Railway. A direct flight from Seoul to Mount Baekdu will also begin, allowing South Koreans to travel to Mount Baekdu for the first time. The Chosun Cooperation Complex is a notable project that will combine South Korea's capital and technology with North Korea's labor force. Many heated negotiations took place to attain this level of cooperation with North Korea.
개혁과 개방이라는 용어에 대한 불신감과 불안감을 가지고 있습니다.
There are deep misgivings toward openness and reforms in North Korea because they have the potential to destabilize the North Korean regime.
북측에서는 통 큰 투자를 기대한다는 측면이 사람과 어떤 문화가 들어오기보다는 자본을 좀 많이 들여보내기를 희망합니다. 그렇지만 한국의 자본은 다 꼬리표가 있고 주인이 있습니다. 그 꼬리표와 주인이 안심하지 않으면 자본이 이동할 수가 없겠죠. 그래서 저는 이번 정상회담의 경제협력 성과가 가시화되기 위해서는 역설적으로 북한이 가장 싫어하는 것을 할 때 가능하다라는 결론을 내리고 있습니다.
Unresolved matters concerning travel, telecommunications, and the transportation of goods held back the Kaesong Industrial Complex, but they were resolved at the summit. This will spur a new stimulus for economic cooperation. Another agreement will give firms involved in joint South-North Korean projects special benefits. This will support further economic cooperation between South and North Korea.
북한과의 앞으로의 경협은 단순한 경협이 아니라 민족의 미래까지 보는 그리고 한반도의 평화까지도 담보할 수 있는 그런 결합된 모델로서의 경협이 돼야 되기 때문에 앞으로의 경협은 대체로 민족 경제 공동체라고 하는 큰 틀에서 그 하위 단위로서의 하나하나 투자의 개념으로 볼 필요가 있고 정부에서도 그것들을 전체적인 어떤 그 계획들을 좀 관리하면서 그것이 민족 경제 공동체라고 하는 것과 어떻게 전맥될 수 있는가라고 하는 관점을 매우 중요하게 가질 필요가 있습니다.
Due to massive flooding and food shortages in the north, emergency aid and investments need to be provided to North Korea to alleviate their problems.
300여 명, 이재민 삼시영인 반합회담장 연회 등 각종 행사를 준비할 연회.
The state of affairs on the Korean peninsula is an important matter in Northeast Asia and also draws attention from the international community. At the recent APEC summit and six-party talks, the denuclearization of the Korean peninsula was a hot issue. There is a wide consensus that the matter requires the cooperation of more than one or two nations. President Bush has made it known that he would be willing to sign a peace treaty with North Korea if certain requirements were met.
And particularly the United States has to be convinced that it is willing to sign a peace treaty. And the impression you get from Washington is, yes, it's definitely something that they will consider, but first of all, North Korea has got to completely give up its nuclear weapons program, and that doesn't simply mean disabling the Yongbyon nuclear complex. It must.
Inarguably, North Korea's nuclear program threatens peace and security not only in Northeast Asia, but around the world. Under these circumstances, North Korea's nuclear program is the main concern in the international community. In the agreement signed between the two leaders, there was an understanding that both countries would work together to end the Korean War in the next few years.
이번에 처음으로 공식적인 문건에 그리고 북한의 최고 지도자가 남쪽이 한반도 종전선언과 평화체제 구축의 당사자라는 점을 분명히 밝히고 있다는 점이 상당히 큰 성과가 아니었나 이렇게 봅니다.
한반도에 평화가 오고 공동 번영을 이루고 하는 것이 동북아의 안정과 평화, 공동 번영의 큰 토대가 됩니다. 이것이 흔들리면 동북아 전체가 흔들리겠습니다. 또 지금 비핵화에 대한 그 이행 의지를 분명히 했거든요. 그러면은 우리 한반도의 비핵화가 이루어지면 동북아 지역 전체의 평화에 또 안보 협력에 또 중요한 어떤 주춧돌을 놓는 것입니다.
There are still many issues to be resolved. Reunions of separated families, the exchange of POWs, and humanitarian matters need to be addressed. But the summit did not produce any results regarding these issues. Renate Hong was 18 years old when she first met her husband. Now she is 70.
Ich stelle mir in meinen Wünschen so verschiedene Dinge vor. Ich stelle mir auch vor, dass wir zusammen mit dem Auto irgendwo hinfahren. Aber das sind wirklich nur Träume. Wenn ich ihn wiedersehen könnte, würde ich zuerst vor ihm stehen und ihn angucken, wie damals vor etwa 50 Jahren. Das weiß ich, das würde ich zuerst machen und vielleicht dann darauf warten, was er zuerst sagt.
The 2007 South-North Korean Summit will open new horizons for South and North Korea, but the two countries are drawing blueprints for what is currently barren land. Nobody knows for sure whether these construction projects will ever be finished. Many hurdles still lie ahead.
남과 북의 한반도에 새로운 앞날이 지금 펼쳐진다. 그 앞날은 이제 대단히 복합적이고 대단히 정말 파라노마 같은 것입니다. 서해 바다에서는 평화 정착이 되어서 또 우리 남북의 어민들이 공동으로 새우도 잡고 지금 휴전선 이런 것도 상당히 뭐랄까요, 좀 이제 서서히 군사적인 대치선이 아니고 평화를 가꾸는 그런 어떤 생태, 공원 이런 걸로 이제 탈바꿈을 할 수 있는 이런 막 가슴 벅찬 일들이 이제 앞으로 일어나야죠.